Welcome back to another Extra Time Futbol video where I will be going in depth over the Egypt versus Belgium game that took place straight after that terrible Spain versus Cape Verde game. And if you're like me, you probably just want to get that game out of your memory and not have to think about it ever again, or that you wasted 90 whole human minutes of your life dedicated to watching that game. Again, I truly can't emphasize how bad it was. But thankfully, this Egypt and Belgium game did have more excitement to it. It did end in a draw 1-1. It could have been more for both sides. Both sides had their chances. Both did miss great opportunities there and did let some go. But overall, still a great game between the two. Definitely better than that first one that we saw. It all started with that 6-minute strike from KDB that just goes side of the post. He came pretty close, and that wouldn't be the first time tonight that he came close to scoring. But I like what I saw from him. It looks like his shooting just needs a little bit more touching up, but I could see him getting a goal or two in the group stages. Egypt, they were the first ones to get on the score sheet right there. They had a stunner from outside the box in the 19th, I believe. And what a shot that was by Ashur. He had a great opportunity and he took advantage of it. And I believe the commentators mentioned that it was his first international goal. And if so, man, what a time to get your first international goal at the World Cup at the highest level you possibly can. And I know Belgium isn't what they used to be in the 2010s, when they had a Hazard, a prime Lukaku, a prime KDB. KDB's still good, but, we're talking about in his prime. Obviously, it's not that same side, but Belgium is still pretty good. So what a team to get it up against, too. In the 32nd minute, Egypt kept being persistent, and they had another low-driven shot that went across Courtois. And Courtois did good to dive low and make the great save. It was just a little bit back and forth. Not too many shots being created, but there were attempts to get chances going, just that they weren't executing the right plays. In the 45th minute, to end the half, Doku has an amazing opportunity to equalize the game before going into half, but unfortunately, he just didn't get the right footing on it and just skies it high. I do believe if he was a little bit more composed in that moment, this game is squared at half. He just needed just a little bit more composure in that moment. Courtois came close to also costing his team and, be going down not just 1 but 2-0 down at half when he came out really, really bad in that corner to end the half. He just didn't time it right. He came out one-handed, and thankfully for him, it didn't amount to anything, but that could have been way worse for him going into half. I really did like that Egypt started the second half just as they ended the first, being persistent. Zico had a great chance to extend the lead there for the Egyptians, but failed to connect properly in a swing and a miss shot that he had. That would have been the perfect time to go 2-0 up. And I truly do believe, had Egypt scored that, I don't believe Belgium gets on the score sheet and Egypt does win this game 3 or 4-0. Egypt was countering really good throughout this game. So, obviously being 2-0 down, Belgium goes to attempt a little bit more. Egypt was defending great. On that counter, they would have definitely gotten them at least once or two more times. So I could have seen this. Had that been put away, this game easily ends 3 or 4-0. KDB had another great opportunity, as I was mentioning, in the 53rd minute, I believe. He had a free kick, amazing free kick, just slightly a little bit left right there. Just glazed the side of the post, but that would have been a perfect time to equalize the game. One that left me speechless as to how you can miss that was, first of all, the header from Salah. Not his miss, but Courtois that save. Courtois, what are you doing? That should have been an easier save, at least for a keeper of his caliber. We're especially talking about him being one of the best keepers in the world. You have to be making that save more securely. That one hand diving save to just leave it right there to the opponent. You have to be better than that. But Ashur, he had the opportunity, misses wide left, completely away from goal. That's the moment you have to take advantage of. You have to either put that in the back of the net or at least get it on goal. If you get that shot on target and say Courtois makes a stunning second save or the defender clears it off the line, you give your teammates right there that are right there an opportunity to get that second shot in. But no, he just takes it too wide left. Now, I don't know if he was trying to shoot or if he wanted to go for a low-driven cross by the power of the shot. I'm assuming he wanted to shoot, but I do believe he also had time to stop it and make a better decision. But I know that one's going to come and cost them later, as it did, in the 65th minute, whenever Lukaku came on, just seconds after they had that play. And even though he wasn't the goal scorer, it was an own goal. He did provoke the play that ended up being the goal. So I guess you can kind of credit him for being in that moment. Unfortunate for the Egyptians, playing a good game in the back. Unfortunate that it had to come through an own goal. And just moments before that, too, I believe Marmoush had a brilliant counter. And let me just say, Marmoush, what a player. I haven't seen much of him in City, but from what I've seen, what I read of him, this man is a great player. I haven't been fortunate enough to watch him play at City, at least not much, but I was impressed with him today. He had great opportunities, great chances. He had a great counter in the 60th minute where he just lets the defenders get a little too close to him. He just gives them too much time to get on him, and he ends up skying his shot a little bit too high right there. Had he been more composed and finished a little bit ahead of time, I do believe he puts that in the back of the net. And moments after that too, he had a second one, if I'm not mistaken, where it was just deflected off of one of the defenders that just goes wide right of Courtois' goal. But I wouldn't be surprised if Marmoush gets 2 or 3 goals in these group stages. Marmoush was definitely very impressive, and I was pleased with his performance. I see him walking away with at least 2 goals from this group. Not to disrespect the other 2 teams in the group, but I do see Iran and New Zealand just not being as heavy opposition as Belgium was. So I do see him getting in a few goals against them. After the equalizer, Belgium did come close to taking the lead in the 82nd, but the Egyptian keeper just made a great save, a great diving save to deny Belgium and salvage a point right there. He did have a good performance too with the little bit that he had to do, but he made great saves when it was called upon him. Towards the end, the game had an interesting moment where the Belgian defender sustained Zizou in a clear foul. I don't know how that got away from the ref, but he was hugging him right there at the end of the box. At first I thought it was a penalty, but after watching the review, it was clearly outside of the box. But come on, how are you missing that? He was grabbing the Egyptian player. He was grabbing Zizou right there. And the image that everyone's going to take away from this is the Egyptian manager hugging the sideline rep to show him, indicate what had happened. So that's going to be the main image, I'm assuming, that's going to be going viral right there. Overall, it was a good game between the 2 sides. Both had their opportunities. Egypt, in my eyes, were the better team, and I did like more what I saw from them. Definitely improvements will be needed from Belgium going forward, but I have high hopes for this Egypt side. I wouldn't be surprised if they top the group. Both of these teams, again, the other 2 opponents that are coming aren't that difficult, so I still see Belgium and Egypt being the 2 main ones out of this group. But after what we've seen from the other groups, I guess we can't really be surprised or count the other ones out if Iran or New Zealand walk away with points from these 2 teams. One thing that I do want to touch on before I end this video is what I noticed when Zizou came off. When he came off, I saw that his shirt was torn. I noticed now that this is the second time, at least that I've seen, that a player has a shirt that is torn in an odd manner like that. First was in the Czech game when the player's shirt was torn by a slight tug. When the Korean player, tugged on his jersey and it just tore the whole thing up. What's odd to me is that both of these teams, their kit sponsors are Puma. I don't know if there's something more to look into with Puma being faulty with their shirts or what's going on, but it's just odd to me now that the 2 torn shirts that I've seen at this tournament have both been Puma, and it's not just a small tear, it's major tears that you're hey, I'm using actual force to tear through this, so maybe their fabric's just not the best, or I don't know what it is, but that's just definitely something that caught my eye. But anyways, thank you still for tuning in to another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like and subscribe, as that would mean a lot to the channel. And hopefully I get to catch you again soon on the next one.